Good morning. I had got a request from one of the member in the Discord group relating to the Tapussa Sutta on how to experience the jhanas and what needs to be done. Actually, this sutta was shared by another Discord member some time ago, and we both had a discussion relating to that. But then we could not proceed further because the time was insufficient and we got into other suttas. So today, when I got this request, I thought that let me get into the jhanas by following the step-by-step instructions indicated in the Tapussa Sutta. Tapussa being the householder, how he could do it, and what he advised, what Buddha advised Tapussa on how, when he was a bodhisattva, what he did to establish. In various other suttas, there is explanation on how to get into these jhanas. And if we were to condense everything in an order of the order of perfection, then we would see that one requires to have the sila, or the moral values, at the highest level. If not highest level, then at least to a level where the defilements really don't torture the mind. So sila, samadhi, panya, these are the three things which have to work together like a tripod. So first we need to establish the sila, then get into samadhi, and that opens up the wisdom for oneself as an experience. So to do that, there are various approaches in various suttas, but what I have experienced in establishing this sila, or the moral values or morality, I would share here, and wish that this sutta helps people listening and trying it out achieve all the 9 jhanas. So the first thing, we need to establish 5 precepts. So what I need to do is just sit silently without doing anything, mental alteration, or talking to anyone, or going through computer or mobile or something like that, and place the awareness on the breath, just like somebody were to do anapanasati for few minutes, let's say 2 to 5 minutes, for the relaxation to happen. So let's say I have done that relaxation, then the breath slows down. So when the breath has slowed down and I'm aware that the breath has slowed down, and there are no thoughts, competing thoughts arising in the mind, then I start like this: Panati pata veramani Sikkapadam samadhiyami. Watch the word samadhi. in that. That means trying to establish same state without any disturbance. Adinna dana veramani sikkapadam samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkapadam samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkapadam samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamaddatthana veramani sikkapadam samadhiyami. Now after doing that, I need to reflect on the sila. Now, first one, panatipata. So, mentally, I don't want to do a character assassination of anyone. However, the enmity would have been, neither I'm going to speak anything that causes anguish in my mind about that persons or a set of persons or a community or the problems that is being faced or whatever it can be. And then bodily, I don't intend to harm anyone or any being, because I know that the beings are coming in this world out of their karma or the deeds which have got into fruits. So basically, I'm not going to do anything about the beings which are there, but I will use the Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekha, that is the loving kindness, compassion, then appreciative joy, followed by equanimity, setting the Brahma Vihara. So how do I achieve that? Is by reflecting on the senses. Need to calm down the senses. Then the panatipata is not going to happen. So my heart is getting rid of any negative or harmful tendencies which are engulfing the mind. So I release them by watching what is coming. So I'll first recognize these intentions of mind, speech, and body. I do actions to release these kind of thoughts, which becomes right effort. Then after that, I will relax the mind, letting go of that feeling to do something of harming or killing or something like that. And then I smile over these thoughts which are coming, because they are basically not mine. They just come, they're random. So I don't supply them with energy. And without the energy, they cannot do anything. So I don't apply force, I just apply the power of consciousness to just observe. And when I do that, these tendencies diminish. So that helps me to get into samadhi. So Veramani means not to entertain. So I'm not entertaining panatipata, not entertaining adinnadana, which is stealing, musavada, saying something as lies, or fabricating the information through speech. Kameshu michachara is getting into lustful tendency of five senses, to possess them, to enjoy them, and finally getting intoxicated with one or the other kind of drugs or alcohol or any other method which will make the mind completely distracted. So apply the same step. That is, I recognize, then I release them, relax these in the light of that consciousness. Then smile over the thoughts which are coming out of these five. Then I return back to the object of contemplation, that is samadhi. Now I have certain hindrances which comes. So what I do is, I have to put effort to remove the hindrance. If my samadhi of these five precepts are not properly placed, there's a disturbance in the mind. I need to observe the disturbance. As indicated in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, in the Dhammanupassana, I need to go to the Nivarana section, watch the mind on what hindrance I'm having. So the five hindrances: Kamachanda, that is sensual feeling, which will be either possessing something or removing that something, because I don't like it. These relate to five senses. The eyes, I like to see something or I don't want to see something through the sight which is coming. Then the ears, through the sound. I don't like certain sounds which are coming on the street or from somebody's home. As I'm talking right now, you all might be listening some background sound coming. That's an irritation. But that is the one which is disturbing my mind. So I need to let go of it. Again, that's a hindrance. At the same time, I like my voice to be in one particular way, and that is not there. So again, a hindrance. Then the taste, touch, smell, and thoughts, all the 6 of them, is kamachanda. Now, since I don't like something, it turns itself into vyapada. Step down is vyapada. That means I step down to do something about it, removing that, putting a lot of force, putting in a lot of anger, frustration, agitation, or anything that burns the whole body, which is basically agitation and frustration. So the second hindrance. The third hindrance is the doubt, skeptical doubt, visikiccha. Here, if I see whether this way it works or not, there is a lot of movement on the road. Maybe this is not the right time to do it. Maybe this is not the right sutta for me to enter into the 9 jhanas. Maybe I'm not ready at this point in time, or something like that. That's again a hindrance. And the fourth hindrance is restlessness, udacha and kukucha, restlessness and worry that I'm not able to get into it, or I'm not able to get the concept, or I'm not able to practice. And there's a lot of disturbance because again of the 5 senses, which are advertising on the mind. Then finally, Thinamida. Now I'm going to postpone it for tomorrow. This whatever I'm speaking, I don't think so makes sense at this time. So why don't I postpone it to tomorrow and do it at the same time? Or a different time. So I need to observe these 5 hindrances and remove it, or work towards removing them. If I were to do that, identify or first set up the 5 precepts, identify the hindrances, and then position myself to the bodhi. So now what I'm going to do is, I've identified what are the hindrances, and now I'm going to sit silently and recite like this. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Now I'm going to get into the refuge, because Buddha is the only refuge, Dhamma is the only refuge, and Sangha is the only refuge. Having completely placed my confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, knowing for myself that there is no other way around, there is no other way any person can really get to see how the birth and death cycles happen. And he, having explained about anicca, dukkha, anatta, and also the dependent origination, which is paticca samutpada, where I've understood it, I'll set the refuge. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. So this will be for the kaya, or the body. Dutiyam pi buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyam pi dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyam pi sangham saranam gacchami. This is for the speech. Tatiyam pi buddham saranam gacchami, Tatiyam pi dhammam saranam gacchami, Tatiyam pi sangham saranam gacchami. And this will be for the mind. So what this does to me is it puts my mind in real control of the situation. Now finally I need to understand the anicca, dukkha, anatta nature. So what I do is that if I consider everything that is happening, like day happening to night, and the next day happening, and the next day happening, which is circle, it's a cyclical. That means there is an arising and passing away of everything. I cannot hold on to anything saying that, okay, this morning is not going to happen, or the afternoon is not going to happen, or the evening is not going to happen, or the night is not going to happen. It will happen based upon what I think should happen. That is not possible. So everything is conditioned and everything is dependently originated on that condition. So if there is a daylight, that is dependent on the condition of sun and with earth. It's got nothing to do with me. I can call it as morning, but it's conditioned and it is dependent. So there is a formula, iti imasmim sati idam hoti, imassa uppada idam upajjati, iti imasmim asati idam na hoti, imassa nirodha idam nirujjati. This is the starting of what paticca samutpada is all about. That is, if something is going to be there, then that happens. If that very thing is not there, that doesn't happen. So I need to reflect upon this conditionality and dependencies, and then I will see the anicca nature in that. That means it arises and passes away. Holding on to the view that it is going to stay is dukkha. And then there is no control, nothing that I can do to make the morning not happen, the afternoon not happen, and it is essenceless of putting that effort in that direction. Rather than that, I can see the nature of things. The nature of things is asara, that is what I did is of no relevance to anyone, including this Tapussa Sutta, what I am doing as a discourse. Might help, might not help, it cannot be said as mine. I cannot take the ownership and saying that, look, I was the person who experienced it. Because it's again conditioned. So all the jhanas are conditioned. So now what I need to do is to change the conditions of my mind from one to another. Because this one is more lasting than the sensual ones. So that's the motivation. So So having penetrated into anicca dukkha anatta nature and having a little bit of idea on paticca samutpada, what I can get is that I can get into the Dhamma Vinaya, that is, set the rules within the mind of Dhamma. That helps in Nekkhamma, which is renunciation, that is moving out of karma. So now we come into the Tapussa Sutta. So here Buddha explains about his unawakened state while he was a bodhisattva. He knew that renunciation is good and seclusion, not interacting with the world, is good. But having known, he was not able to achieve it. Then he thought, why? And the reason why he couldn't do it is that something was amiss, like what we spoke earlier. That is, the precepts. In Sallekha Sutta, he talks about 44 things what needs to be established. Now what we are trying to do is only 5, but that is good enough to experience. And then we need to look at the hindrance. So that's the reason you have the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, which talks about the hindrance. And we need to penetrate into the anicca dukkha anatta nature. Having done that, you'll immediately feel peaceful. So the first thing I need to do is look at the kama chanda and look at the drawback nature of that. Now we are seeing across the globe people suffering because there is birth, there is decay and death, and there is sorrow, there is lamentation, all of that, grief, everything is there. We are able to see it. For the last 1 year or more, across countries, people are dying due to the disease. Nobody can do anything about it. So it's a good opportunity to watch it. No matter whether somebody has money or doesn't have money. Doesn't matter if somebody is looking good or not looking good. Doesn't matter if a person is looking healthy or not healthy. Doesn't matter if a person is tall or short, fat or lean, female or a male, child or an adult. Doesn't matter. It's happening. So we can see the drawback of sensual pleasures. Asada. The pleasure, what we are seeking in the senses. It's like going in a desert and trying to find water. All the 5 senses are something like that. You will never get it. Meaning, if I were to see an object, it goes away, again I need to see that object. Again it goes away, again I need to see that object. Every time it goes away, there is vexation in my mind. Same thing with the sound. I like to hear a particular sound and it goes away. Again I have to replay it and again it goes away. Again I have to replay it. Again it goes away. Same thing with taste. Whether I'm drinking coffee or tea or any kind of beverages or alcohol or whatever it is. Or I'm eating something. Same. Then smelling. Whatever is being smelled, I want the smell to be in a particular way, but it is bad odor, good odor, whatever it is. I had to keep on doing it, but it's never get satiated at any point in time. Touch. I've been touching females throughout my life. I've been touching sofa, been touching bed, been touching food, being touching home, being touching the road, being touching the car, all of that. But I have to keep on doing it. It cannot get satiated. The thoughts, no matter what I do, cannot be satisfied. So the best thing I can do is to watch the drawback of it, because it keeps on coming. There's no way I can get rid of it by its own, except for providing energy to it. And that's renunciation. So when I get into that, it makes it very peaceful. So now I see the drawback. With this kind of disease, pandemic, which has spread across the globe. And people who were thinking that they need to visit this country, that country, and this place and that place, cannot visit. Those people who thought that I will go to this home and that home, that person's home, this friend's home, that is not true. They thought that I'll spend with this person, that is also not true. I will be in this job and that job, that is also not true. I will be driving in this car and that car, and this is how I'll be doing, that also is untrue. So everything is seemingly looking as untrue. There is no reality. Even the conventional reality is gone. There are lockdowns in many countries. There are a lot of restrictions of travel in many countries. Now I'm staying in India. Now they have cancelled all the flights flying out of India. And we don't know till when. I have, let's say, a lot of money. But then nothing can come to any of use. Good news is that I'm having a monastery kind of life. So I don't expect anything. But for people who are not in that state of mind, having a lot of money and no money seems the same. They're not able to spend. And those people who don't have money are not able to earn. So it is such a stressful life. So now my mind is confident, it is settled, it's decided. What's the truth? It is anicca nature, dukkha, and anatta nature. So now this helps me to get into the first jhana, vitakka vichara. So now I have secluded myself from sensual pleasure. And I have removed the unskillful qualities or immoral qualities through applying the precepts and removing the hindrances. Now I'm coming into savitakka savichara and viveka, that is discrimination of what should be done and what should not be done. Piti sukham. So I am having joy, and that's going to get converted into happiness. Now I sit watching only the Dhamma, because I've seen the drawbacks. With this, my first jhana is established. What happens? Your body becomes extremely light. You should be feeling lightness. You should be able to see the drawback of sensuality. You should be able to see the drawback of akusala dhamma, that is unskillful, immoral qualities. And in its place, replaced by skillful, replaced by non-sensual. So if I were to compare between the sensual touch versus this first jhana, this lasts more than the sensual touch. Let's say a girlfriend of mine comes where to touch. I can only feel it as warm or hot and rough or smooth, but doesn't give me a light feeling. This one gives me a light feeling. So I lose interest in this sensuality. Automatically, I can see it. But the problem is, after some time, like all condition, this also starts to fade away. So now I get into the kama, that is sensual pleasures. Let's say I was having a cup of coffee. I feel like, let me have a cup of coffee, because that's more pleasurable. Now I have to somehow get into the pleasure through jhana, not through the sensual. So that is afflicting me. What I need to do is, I need to treat this affliction as a pain, as something like a dart, like an arrow hit on me. So these kama, sensual pleasures, attention to the sensual pleasures and the perception of the sensual pleasures, I need to just observe them. I shouldn't get out from my seat, even though the jhana has been broken. Just watch them. Then I watch them, they drop away. What do you mean by watching them? It's like watching like a gatekeeper. So as soon as these thoughts come, which are going to break the jhana, I should not get upset about the jhana being broken away. I should not get upset at this kama thing which has come. Instead, just watch. The gatekeeper does not allow the person to enter because he doesn't have a valid documentation to enter. So when these are advertising in my mind, I just watch, recognize, and release these thoughts. And when I do that, after a few minutes, mind gets established. Now I can get into the second jhana. But to enter into the second jhana, my mind is not confident enough and decided about it, because still the kama thoughts was lurking in the mind. So what I need to do is, I need to feel like soaked up thing, like getting into a shower. How the water would fall on the entire part of the body. And I compare this with the affliction what I'm having, the pain of drinking coffee or tea or attending to something, and see that it is such a small thing, whereas this sufficing thing from the head to toe is such a big, when compared to having something to eat or something to wear, something to go out and all of that. Then the mind gets settled, because earlier it was not eager to place the mind and not confident and neither settled or decided. So what I need to do is I need to see the drawback again of not doing it. What if the consciousness were to depart right now? Where would I land? And that feeling really shakes off this dirt which has enveloped. Now I have cultivated. So in few minutes, I have seen it cultivated. Cultivated to see the soaking of the body as in a nice waterfall or a nice waterbed. Just like a person who is extremely sweating, extremely feeling hot, were to be given a nice, cool, refreshing bath. Or a waterfall he is watching in a still river or a lake, and he is completely drenched in that water. And that feeling which comes, that's the second jhana. But the problem is that after some time that feeling goes away. It feeds with the vitak thoughts, not the sensual ones, but just the thoughts. So that's a pain. So what I need to do is, this joy feeling is going away, fading away. Now the sukha feeling has to come. That's the third jhana. Now how does this sukha is? There is no body aching, there is no mind aching. And if one person were to be given $1 million, US dollars, he rejects that, saying that I'm not interested. I really don't know what to do with this. Then somebody says, why don't you take 1 billion US dollars? He feels there's no point in taking 1 billion US dollars and do what? And that's the third jhana, sukha. This is called as equanimous and mindful, which is blissful. And how does the bliss experience is going to be? You will be contented and you don't require anything more to be added, and there is nothing to be removed. You're just still. But here again there are hindrances, because it is not reached that state. So there is something which is undecided, not confident, settled about it. So what I need to do is, I need to either give myself $1 billion, or look at what I wanted to become. So let's say I wanted to become a scientist. At present I am not. Or if I wanted to become a vice president in some company and I'm not, or president, or let's say I want to become the president of America, which I am not presently. So considering that, I need to see what's the difference between the president of America versus me. What is he doing? He's waking up, I'm also waking. He's eating, I'm also eating. He's taking a bath, I'm also taking a bath. He's wearing clothes, I'm also wearing clothes. He's going for work, I'm also going to work. He's earning some money, I'm also earning some money. He has a car, I have a car. He has a lot of bedrooms to sleep, I have a bedroom to sleep. So basically there is nothing extra what is being done. So this mental value is the one which I need to get rid of. That means I have set a value that this is highly valuable. So if I were to bring it to zero, which is what he calls in that etan santan etan panitan yadidan sabba sankhara samatho. So now I am going to bring it to samatha, equanimity or equal. So if I compare myself with President of America, even though it looks a great thing which has come out of his punyaphala, the actions of the past which are good, and he or she is able to become the President of America, has all the power. But then if I were to really penetrate and see, it seems almost the same, except that the comfort level is much better than me. So now why don't I get into comfort level automatically, not needing to do all of this exertion of becoming something, the bhava, which will cause the jati, and then it's going to become jara, then it's going to become marana, then soka, parideva, dukkha, domanasa, upayasa, sambhavanti. So why don't I do that? So this is a drawback. So from the joy, I get extreme sukha, happiness, because I don't have anything to compare and I don't have anything to compete. Two things are gone. I were to compare with myself to be President of America, and I want to become President of America or President of India or Prime Minister of India or some other country or whatever it is, whomever I think I need to be an idol, or I have taken a person as an idol and I want to become that. That causes too much of damage to the mind, because I have to compare myself and find that I'm not presently that. So I have to do something to become that. Then I need to compete with myself, which is even more worse. And that is the hindrance what I'm adding, which is again kama chanda vyapada. And I'm adding kukucha, worry, and restlessness, udacha. So why don't I drop it? The moment I drop it, I attain supreme peace, because I have become what I wanted to become in the mind. There's nothing, no more becoming. So it is sukha. Now I find happiness. Now if somebody gives me $1 million or $1 billion and an yacht, or I can get a mansion, lake, and this and that, this one is far profound than that one. So now I am peaceful. So now I got freedom from the joy and rapture. Now I got into peaceful. I can stay for a long period of time being peaceful. But the problem again comes is that rapture again comes back, like the water experience. This fades away. So it's an affliction, like a pain. So now I have to go to the next jhana, without pleasure or pain, with pure equanimity and mindfulness. So what I need to do is Sabba Sankhara Samatho Sabbupati Patinisaggo. So I need to give up all the possessions in the mind, because that is a hindrance. So all the name and forms, if I were to eliminate while I observe what it means. Let's say I have a wife. How did the wife happen? Because I got married. She's again dependent. Until the condition matches, either I do a divorce or the wife dies, I am a husband. The moment the wife dies or the person dies or the person divorces, I become a divorcee, or I become ex-husband of so and so. This is not the right way. So I drop that. The moment I drop it in my mind, an equanimous bliss starts to come. It is neither pain nor pleasure. So I've seen the drawback of Nama and Rupa. Job, this, that company, this way of living, that way of living, this way of serving, that way of serving, this way of dressing, that way of dressing, this way of bathing, that way of bathing, all of that is just Nama and Rupa. So when I get into this no pleasure, no pain, my mind is settled. And now I see it peaceful. And I can enter and remain in the fourth absorption. What is the state of the fourth absorption? You forget all about yourself. You are able to hear everything, but you're not interested. You're able to see everything, you're not interested. You're able to touch everything, but you're not interested. You're able to taste everything, but you're not interested. You're able to smell everything, but you're not interested. In the mind, there are absolutely no thoughts. Okay, I just gave this much of gap of time just to experience these four jhanas. And the process to be followed. This is the Rupa jhana, first four. And equanimity can also drive a nice 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So what I'm trying to do is right now stop it here for you to experience for yourself the first four jhanas, and then tomorrow we can connect back at the same time to experience from the 5th jhana to the 8th jhana, and day after tomorrow we can concentrate only on the 9th jhana. This is one proposal what I have. Doing the remaining jhanas wouldn't really make sense, because first we need to establish the first 3 jhanas. You need to experience the sukha, and that is primary before even equanimity is got about. And before that, we should have established the 5 precepts, looked at the 5 hindrances, experienced about the anicca, dukkha, anatta nature, and then believing in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, making mind rid of any other concepts, any other philosophy, any other tradition. We need to enter into these jhana. So I will be doing the same one tomorrow, with starting with the 5th to the 8th, and then a day after tomorrow, try to stay in the 9th jhana, which is neither perception nor feeling, neva sanya. So without any feeling, that is Vedana and Sanya. Sanya Vedayita Nirodha. So then the conceptualization goes away, and the feeling, what is God, also goes away. We add feelings to everything, and getting rid of those feelings is what the ultimate bliss is all about. So do let me know what you feel after trying this out. This will be 11 a.m. India time tomorrow. And I will do the 5th to the 8th. How you can practically do it. What hindrances are going to come when you attempt the arupa jhanas. First 3 jhanas, out of that, first 2 jhanas are easy because you can really watch them. But after the 4 jhanas, getting into infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception, is slightly complicated, and that experience is difficult. And then you don't know whether you really achieved that or not. So let's cover that tomorrow. And those of you who have joined live, thank you very much for joining, and look forward to meet you tomorrow. Thank you.